bottom, it should say participants, chat, share screen, record.
Yeah, so I clicked record.
Reactions.
So it says we're recording. Is that recording everybody? Hi, I'm new here.
Yeah, it's recording our entire meeting.
It says active speaker. I mean, can you see all four of us or all three of us?
There's it depends what you choose.
Yeah, well, okay, so it says recording. So
no.
Okay, do you have it on gallery view or just speaker view?
I have gallery view. I can see all three of us.
Okay, that's good. Because the speaker one wasn't really working as well, and I think that's because we're all using different.
Because we're all talking at the same time.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
There would be a lot of like we'd have to put like a seizure warning at the beginning of the video so that people would know that it was going to switch so fast between all three of us that they might be ill or seasick. Just watching us, yeah.
Please watch for motion sickness on your way out.
Remember how Mary Hart caused someone to have a seizure? Do you remember Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight?
And I was going to say Entertainment Tonight. How did that
We are now Entertainment Tonight.
Her voice was causing someone to have seizures, right?
I'm Mary Hart.
Oh no!
I don't know why. That's something to Google. That's a little
Okay, well, let's look it up. We have the technology.
I'm on my only device right now because I'm
doing
these little thank you cards for Carol, and I need to get them done for her because it's
you using her font. Oh my gosh, you guys!
I'm using my own font.
Okay, the Googles did Mary Hart's, and then here are the fill in the blanks. Did Mary Hart's husband die? Did Mary Hart retire? Did Mary Hart die? Did Mary Hart have a baby? Why did Mary Hart leave Entertainment Tonight?
Why did she?
Let's a lot about this marriage. There's not, out of the first page, there's.
I found it, but I want to know why she left Entertainment Tonight. Can we start with that?
Well. Okay, just a second. I have to back up.
Like, okay, but how many years ago? This is like 30 years ago or something like that. 25 years ago, Carrie.
Yeah.
It's 91. It's from the archive.
Okay, but
July 11th, 91.
Freaking retire is what I'm saying.
No, you had asked. This is why we're here, though. You know why we're here, right?
I don't remember why we're here.
Okay, because we were talking about these online meetings and it's speaker view versus gallery view.
Okay,
and speaker view, we were saying, could cause motion sickness, which led to seizures.
I'm following the train of thought. Unfortunately,
okay, so
it was mine.
It wasn't 30 years ago.
Almost, though, that this happened, because this is from 91. Do some quick math.
There's a picture of Mary Hart and Andy Warhol in 1985 on the internet.
Was Andy Warhol alive then? That can't be. Was it somebody playing Andy Warhol?
No, it's from 85.
Wife's outside, which is really good while we're recording because I can hear her walking around upstairs. I'm going to need to build myself a quiet room.
Okay. Why did she leave Entertainment Tonight? Andy Warhol died in 87. I'm looking up everybody's death dates now because we're not having another Jones experience.
It's a lot of words.
Okay.
And I don't have my reading glasses on, I have my contacts in, so I'm like.
Mary Hart.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter why she left. She left. But
she left.
A woman in her 40s suffered epileptic seizures triggered by hearing the voice of television personality Mary Hart of the program Entertainment Tonight, a doctor said. 49-year-old woman experienced 4 years of reoccurring seizures involving pressure in her head, queasiness in her stomach, and mental confusion.
Well, the entertainment industry can be confusing.
Despite extensive
well, that
testing,
article that... Go ahead.
Doctors said they couldn't determine why Hart's voice alone set off the seizures. By her voice, and they did test, it was by her voice alone and not by visual stimulation, emotional anticipation, or background music by other programs with a similar format, or by other female voices. His logical guess would be that Hart's voice reminded the woman of someone or something in her past, thus stimulated the misfiring of electrical signals in her brain that resulted in seizures. However, they looked over everything. Which we could go off a deep end off of childhood trauma, because they do have quite extensive training in that.
If she was in her 40s, maybe not childhood, because then Mary Hart wouldn't have been working for that long, right?
This article goes on to say that the neurologist said researchers went over her childhood experiences and asked her if the voice reminded her of something. Am I still frozen?
No, not now.
Okay. Went over her childhood experiences and asked her if the voice reminded her of something that happened when she was growing up, but couldn't prove anything. So essentially, this woman went on to live a relatively seizure-free life by avoiding Entertainment Tonight and the voice of perky blonde Hart, unquote. Continue.
Did they call her perky blonde Hart? Like,
hello, in this article.
Times.
Okay, it must be written by the same people, because there is something to that effect in this one. But here's a fun fact. She grew up mostly in South Dakota and eventually competed in the 1970 Miss American pageant. Mr. Philbin gave Ms. Hart her start, hiring her in 1981 to be his co-host on the Regis Philbin Show. Okay, but you know what's really funny?
Please tell me there's no Trump connection.
No, but I read Mr. Philbin, which made me think of Dr. Phil, and I was like, Dr. Phil hired...
I've got a lot to say about this.
It's been a long day. Found a great picture, though.
Please save it and we'll add it to the resources along with this article about seizures.
I'm just going to state for the record right now that there is going to be no editing in this. So
wonderful.
This is raw cousins.
You're welcome. It's not your story. You're welcome.
Cousins. Raw cousins.
Uncut.
It's on raw. Uncut. Go get the ladder chairs for the mash.
I don't know what that link is, but I can't see it.
Don't worry about it. It's a picture of Mary Hart dressed in a lot of cheetah print.
It didn't load.
I'll find it.
Yeah, I need to see it.
I would like it
getting dark.
Widget. Yeah.
You can what? Widget it?
I'm gonna widget it on my phone.
Good idea.
Oh yeah, it also didn't come to me, so you got to try that again.
Oh, it is super dark. Wife's outside with the derg.
It's literally
that's why I'm dark here too. I'm in the outside.
It doesn't look quite as dark at your house for some reason. You must be the sun. What side are you facing? The setting sun?
I am facing the nearly set sun. Yes.
Yes.
Might have. If this is your regular recording place, I can lend you my light if you need it. So you're not out there in the dark. Don't you have like deck lights?
Yeah, I do, but I might be backlit. Maybe I could ask someone close by to go in and turn the light on.
I'll be right there.
But I also just asked someone to casually remove the dead bird from off the deck. So you gotta pick your battles. You know what I'm saying?
Bird first, lights next.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, look what happened here. It happened in the reverse order.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I'm like more concerned about that dead bird though.
Well, it's been there for a couple of days. It's not going anywhere. I don't know if that really helped much though.
It looks like daylight.
Yeah, there's some weird, it's like, stay away from the light, Carol Ann, kind of glow behind you.
Oh, well.
It's happening.
One package done.
Sweet. I just found this little
thank you
great
notes
thing.
For?
Yeah.
It's Teacher's Aid, like EA's Appreciation Month or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
So they're doing some nice things for them tomorrow. And she wanted thank you cards, and I said, okay.
That's really important, especially right now.
Yeah, it is.
Staff is highly undervalued.
You gotta take care of the people that take care of the peoples.
True.
You really do. Absolutely.
So I apologize for, like, I'm sticking my tongue out and I'm like not looking up at you guys,
Okay, so I just said this thing about like boundaries and like not apologizing.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so good.
I just don't want you to feel like I'm ignoring you.
The top of it literally says, boundaries are healthy. I'm allowed to say no. I'm not obligated to apologize, which is kind of relating more so to the boundaries, but also like not obligated.
How about I say this? Thank you for allowing me to do this while I speak to both of you.
Yes.
Reframing.
Yes.
Yes.
Like when I'm late, instead of saying, sorry, I'm late, I say, thank you for waiting, or thanks for your patience.
Yes.
Anticipating that they have patience. Or please forgive me, right? Please forgive me, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't saying forgive me a little bit like saying sorry?
Well, it's different than the word sorry, in my opinion, or please accept my apologies.
Do you think that you know, trying to not say sorry though is a little anti-Canadian?
It feels wrong.
Saying sorry feels wrong, or
not saying sorry?
It's getting to feel
wrong.
so right. I'm going to tell you right now.
It does.
Not saying sorry feels so right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just had to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's Canadian punctuation.
And that's just it. Sort of recently, like in the past couple of years, is that recent? I said sorry to someone because I was like, oh, sorry to interrupt, blah, blah, blah. And the person looked at me and said, you're not really sorry. And I went,
not in the bed.
Not at all. Not one single bit.
Sort of related, but not 100%. I remember being like a teenager working at Dairy Queen, and somebody came to the counter and they wanted something and we were out of it. And when I went to say, you know, I'm sorry, I can't serve you this because we don't have any. I said, I'm afraid we're out of that right now. Could I get you something else? And my coworker was like, what was so scary about it that you said you're afraid? And I was like, I don't know. Like, isn't it just a saying?
It is just a saying.
I think too, little sayings and colloquialisms and things like that are what make English really hard to learn and to understand.
Yep.
I remember being in Montreal trying to speak Spanish with someone, and my grammar is terrible in pretty much any language I speak in. So this person was helping me, and they're like, it's so easy. They're saying in Spanish, right? Es fácil. Español es fácil. And I'm like, maybe for you because it's your mother tongue, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think anything could be challenging.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. If we were going to talk about like Canadian languagisms, we should really involve my wife with that, because I know that there are things that I say sometimes that she's like, huh? You know, like they're just too weird.
Yes.
Speak of the devil. Hey! Come here! Hurry up! We're recording, but I have a question for you. Over here. I'm using your desk. She went right to my office. So, little disclaimer, we're recording right now. So.
Cute.
Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
What as like a newly minted Canadian, like in the past under 10 years, what was one of the most like annoying Canadianism sayings for you when you first arrived here?
Sorry.
Booyah!
Anything else you want to add?
When someone's talking to you and they say, "Oh, it's nice weather, hey."
It's
Using a at the end of every freaking sentence. That's a little bit.
I know,
It's
eh?
a little much. I love you guys. Canada's great, but you know, words matter. I'm just saying.
I know. Okay, what if we? Oh, never mind. I'll be quiet.
Okay, this is totally your fault. Read what I wrote on this.
That's fine. I'll take it. She wrote thanks, A.
I was writing thank you on all the rest of them. No,
Then you wrote thanks, eh?
The golden ticket.
Okay, you can go back here.
Okay, I'm dismissed.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Toodles.
Thanks.
You're dismissed.
Hi.
Come here.
Take that orange cat with
Oh, devil, Satan, baby.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of orange cats, so I got
you.
home today and placed my items on my bed. And then all of a sudden the covers started moving and there was a little tiny.
Did you
He
pin him
loves to
under
be
there?
under. Yeah, he loves to be under the covers. Like nobody's home, nobody's guggling him. He's under the covers having a snooze fest. Yeah.
Oh, he's
That's
got to go
Pandora.
himself.
I have to watch when I jump into bed at night in the winter because sometimes she's already there.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think we have slow attention spans?
Probably.
We've just talked about 400 things and we started talking about Mary Hart. Does anybody remember that? Because it was like 10 minutes ago.
Well, I don't know. This week, was it you I was talking to, Carrie? Okay, I'm just going to admit something that I'm a little bit embarrassed about, but I have to say that I shouldn't feel embarrassed about it because I'm sure there's lots of people that feel like me. But I was binge watching Ancient Aliens because I freaking love that show. I do. And it's so stupid. It's so stupid and no one would actually, but there are people who do believe it. So I don't know what I want to know what you guys is like your guilty.
Okay. Going
Guilty.
back in the vault. I can't believe I'm admitting this. I used to like, back when there was TV, The Bachelor.
What? Never would have guessed that.
I know. That's why I said it out loud. Now I feel like throwing up and washing my mouth out.
I don't think any less of you. Let's put that out.
I couldn't think any less of you is what you
I
meant.
couldn't possibly. No.
I also enjoy on Sunday evening, once everybody's been tucked into bed, a little Highway to Heaven.
Really? That show is so old.
And it should be no surprise, Murder, She Wrote. That should not be a surprise.
Yeah.
The list is long and vast for me. I watch as much TV as I listen to music. Like it's a very wide range. Used to really enjoy once a week, a very good friend of mine and I would hunker down at her house and watch a little Honey Boo Boo. Recently, I'm going to call them the throuple. They know who they are. The throuple, which involves me, not a real throuple, but we are three people that spend a lot of time together, have been watching Jersey Shore once again from the beginning.
I revisited though. What is Naked and Afraid? I get it. It's funny. Like, I mean,
that was awesome.
That's a
Rick
great
still
show.
talks about our impromptu Naked and Afraid watching.
Yeah, but what was the highlight of it? Just the show or the commentary? Like, sometimes there's shows that Carolyn and I just watch because we have to have like the running commentary.
Los Dos, probably.
Yeah.
Which is Spanish for the both.
Yeah. But I mean, like, reality TV, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand the appeal.
And I was so about Survivor when it came out, Mole, Celebrity Mole, and you just get kind of suckered in. And I feel like I watch it more, like, for example, Jersey Shore, just because it's a very relevant example for me right now. It's something I will binge watch. But to remember to tune into something without a PVR once a week is very hard for me to do. And I'm used to not having TV. We went without TV for a very long time until I moved back in here, where there is real TV, which is fascinating. I forget what commercials are sometimes.
Okay, I have two things. I'm going crazy. Okay, keep going, and then I have my two things.
But yeah, no, and going back to Deetsy's thing about Ancient Aliens, that's one of those shows that's on like all the time on the History Network. And like you sit down and then it's like 4 hours later. You're like so in it. I think a lot of shows are like that. You just get so in it and you're just so zoned. And then there's something about like the commentary and the voices and
the commentary kills me. I know Carrie's dying to say something, but I have to say, like, it was like everything that they were presenting, they would add a question like, were they praying to ancient aliens? Yeah. Or was it something, in fact, much more sinister? Were they communicating with ancient aliens? Like, it's like neither one are really, they haven't answered this question. They just keep asking more questions.
And then I find myself getting into those too, where I'm like, yes, yes, they were, but what?
And the terminology, like, I mean, like the fake kind of titles, like ancient alien, alien astronaut theorists. That's what they're called. I was like, man, I've had jobs where they've made up titles for me too, but man, that's a doozy.
I could go off the deep end because there are some things I believe about the things that they talk about on Ancient Aliens, but we're going to leave that for another time and let Carrie.
Yes, because I have some opinions as well.
Well, now I want to just forget my doors because I was like, which door do you want? A, B, or C?
All the doors.
No, I remember when the babies were at probably Derek and Andrea's because they had TV and they're like, the craziest thing happened. We were watching a show and then the show stopped. And then a bunch of really tiny shows came on. And then it went back to the other show we were watching. Commercials.
Who said that?
The babies. I forget, probably Zach, but I don't remember. They had never seen a commercial before, right? Like, it's interesting.
That's
the other
really
thoughts
good.
are gone. I want to, okay, so I have a friend who will remain nameless in this moment, who enjoys the Ancient Aliens. I personally have not partaken thereof. I'm sure I would be hooked for life.
You would be.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We would end up with matching tattoos of some sort. However, this person was really getting into the show and was one of those ones who was at first duped. Okay. And came to that awareness when one of the episodes was dealing with the origin of ancient mermaid aliens. And that's when they're like, I think maybe this show is
a load of hookah.
A little bit stretched.
Not hookah.
But I feel like there are some truths there.
Well,
let's talk about the truth.
Stuff that's unexplainable. Like, we're running out of time. We only get 40 minutes.
It said it was upgraded by the host.
Thanks, Deets. Sometimes when you're new, they let you upgrade for free for your first one. Kind of like drugs, I'm assuming.
So
wait a minute though.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Before we get into the ancient aliens, I think it would only be appropriate to talk about our alien experience, Deeds.
Are you talking about when we were in Portage? I did see a UFO. Laura, did you know this? Did I tell you this?
Have you heard this, Ty?
I think I've heard this, but let's retell it for the people.
Back in the days of wild youth and stupidity, aka the 90s. And I mean, I can't prove it because, I didn't own a cell phone at that time. So anyway, we were at Carrie's house. It was in the evening. It was like early evening. It was just around dusk.
And by house, she means like this old mansion that was converted into apartments. And I lived in the servants' quarters on the 3rd floor.
Oh man, we could tell so many stories about everything about that. Carrie had an apartment that was in the maid's quarters of this house in
where
Portage,
someone had been murdered.
Where someone also had also been murdered. And I had an apartment in the maid's quarters in a house across the street.
Yep.
But that was later. But the point being is our cordless phones worked across the street from each other. That's how close the houses were. But we were at her house, and she had this little balcony thing that you could walk out onto the roof. And you had a chair out there, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't think it was quite a balcony. I think it was more like the flat part of a roof.
Just a little
that you could fit a chair on.
Yeah, like a person standing out there smoking a cigarette, for example.
Like we don't know anybody personally.
No.
But yeah.
Anyway, so yes, that's what I was doing. I was standing out on this little flat part of the roof, having a cigarette.
What was I doing? Do you remember what I was doing for the 400th time that day?
This was the fall, and Carrie was cold, so she was having a bath, of course.
4 times a day.
That's what Carrie did when she was cold, kind of like a
drive
cat underneath the blankets. So she's in the bathtub, and I'm standing there, and the little balcony thing faced the lake, the island lake area. And all of a sudden, this metal thing came down. It looked kind of like a tube, and it stopped on an angle over top of the water and took off like this.
Like super crazy fast.
Super fast, and not a sound. I kept waiting for the sonic boom, thinking that is crazy. Like, because that's how fast it went. If it had been a jet, you would have heard the boom after, and there was nothing. And there was 3 lights on it. It was yellow, green, and blue. No, not yellow, red, green, and blue. And I was like, Carrie, get out here. I was screaming at her, and she's like getting out of the tub. And I was watching the lights, and they kept getting smaller and smaller. And I don't know if you were able to see the lights. I can't remember now.
Mm-hmm. I remember blue, but I don't know if that's like one of those memories that I've inserted, which is a whole other discussion.
And I mean, were they aliens? Were they humans in a secret airplane? I don't know. But I tell you, I wasn't smoking anything funny. I never did that. It was just a cigarette, and I didn't have a stroke.
In that moment.
Yeah, it was like one of the weirdest experiences that I've ever had. And now everybody knows, but that was actually quite a big, not a big, but a closed like secret.
It's a reveal.
It's a bit of a reveal. Yeah.
It's a reveal. And I believe you 100%. Just for the FYI.
I was like, get the F out of the bathtub and get out of here.
True.
She's like, I'm coming. Like, what's up?
Okay, so Tyne, you have some beliefs about ancient aliens.
I do. And I think with all of these shows, whether it be paranormal or aliens, I think there is always, some truth behind them. I've done like quite a lot of reading and conversation with a friend of mine, actually a couple of friends of mine, about things like the pyramids. Why did the pyramids exist? We have our surface level of what we know to be true. And I guess it's like that for anything, right? With the surface level of what we know to be true from science and research and archaeology, but why? And why are they in certain places in the world? You know, like there's like a little bit of, you know, like, were they something to do with power systems and things like that? Like there's all these different little things that are like, oh, well, that would be, I'm a pretty logical thinker. So like, oh, that would be like the logical thing, right? To have them lined up
the
like
thing
this.
that kind of,
you know,
made me, you know, along the same lines as you. First off, I've always believed that we would be absolute arrogant a-holes to think that we were the only ones in the universe.
Evan says that to the T. That's literally what Evan says, and I 100%
agreed. Plus
crop
circles.
Yeah, and the crop circles are fake. They've been proven fake. But things that, you know, haven't been just figured out, like, you know, rocks that fit perfectly together. And they were supposed to be using, you know, these tools that for the time period, but the precision with which certain stones were fitted together, you know, that kind of makes you wonder, because you think about how stuff is moved today, and for many, many years, horses and elephants and, you know, things like animals were the ones that were the power behind moving large objects. So, I mean, that kind of makes you wonder what was going on. I'm not saying it was necessarily aliens, but that kind of mystery really catches me, and I like to.
Fair enough.
I think that though, if aliens kind of got a window into how we, there's always this idea that, you know, that aliens are not all like an idea, but it's kind of presented on these shows like aliens are, they're higher beings than us. They're more knowledgeable. They're better. I don't know. Predator, like, I'm just saying, like,
there's
what about that guy at Falcon who was like a total naysayer and then wakes up and has these burnt marks, like a Lego brick has been shoved on his body? We got to figure that out.
There was one somewhere else I was listening to on the CBC, of course, years ago, and I can't remember, but it was somewhere between here and there. And
I bet it's the same one.
It's the same guy.
It's not the Falcon Lake one. It was another one, and they found pieces of something, and the military came and picked it up, and then the person that found it never knew what it was. Yeah. So there's stuff like that. There's also, which kind of connects to Ancient Aliens. Goodbye, Sparta. And I feel like they probably touched on this in Ancient Aliens, and I could be making that part up, is time travel and things like the Philadelphia experiment and things like that. It's a rabbit hole, right? And there's certain things you can come out. And I think like anything else, it's you take what you believe from it and you walk away with what you believe to be true. So I think that's what really gets me about shows like that, is that it makes me think a little bit deeper and makes me think about things that I would have never thought about otherwise. But you start reading and you start going down these rabbit holes, and it's, whoa, alien.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point. And I really didn't want to talk about this right now, so I'm only going to dance around it. The importance of listening to, subscribing to, reading about the things that we don't necessarily align with at first or understand. Politics, like so many polarizing topics. There's a huge laundry list there, right? I think it's really important though that we stay with open a mindset of, is it possible? Like, is it possible?
Oh yeah.
And that really goes back to that post that you made as well. And the stories we tell ourselves.
Isn't it 100%. Horrible that I don't remember what I wrote? Which one? Which post are you talking about?
The post that Carrie wrote. Sorry, I wasn't super specific there. But also the post that you wrote too about we're all made of stars. There's so many things that interconnect here.
Okay, and circling back to inserting memory, inserting things, like when I first read it, I read we're all made of stars, because we know that phrase.
Yeah.
And so when you're like, oh, I spelt it wrong, I'm like, oh, she must have corrected it. And then I went back and I was like, oh, no, there it is. So this week, with church and the COVIDs, trying to, understand how many people we can have in the building, which we have maybe 30, if that already, which is, I think, what we're allowed.
Made it 10. It's 10 now.
Churches are exempt or something. I don't understand it. And again, I will decline my opinion.
Okay.
Surprisingly. Okay. Anyway, I was talking to this older gentleman from church and Rick. There were 3 of us in this conversation. And Rick's like, well, I'm not sure how many, our occupancy is, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I know that it's posted in the building. It's right beside the door. And so I'll go to church yesterday or something. I'll go and check out what that paper says. I could have sworn there was a paper beside the door that says the occupancy. Like, it was in my mind for real. I could see the paper. I can see the number. I was sure it was like 96, but I just wanted to double check. It's not.
I feel like there usually is. Like a fire plan usually is. Yeah.
There is an occupancy certificate, but it wasn't where I thought it was. And in my memory, like for sure it was where I thought it was. It wasn't at all. So what's up with that? Why are we making up stuff?
It was in the Berenstain Bears timeline, not the Berenstein Bears.
Circling back to
the Mandela effect. I think we're all a little bit like this. And like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like the 3 of us are very much visual in that way, where you can give me my room destroyed if you ask me for something very specific.
No problem.
I know where it is.
You know exactly where it is.
Like Hoarder's Paradise.
Like over
Hoarder's
there.
Paradise.
Yes.
That's why I'm set up in Carolyn's office and not in my own. So.
Well, you literally cannot walk into this Hoarder's Paradise. And Rick wanted a mouse. And I knew I had bought one that had like the stacking dolls on it, which was so cute. And I purchased it about 700 years ago. I said, I totally have a mouse. We're not going to buy one. I'll go and find it. It's super cute. Like, you barely can open the door. And I found it within like 2 seconds.
Yes.
So that's a talent.
Something that throws us for a loop big time, as you just mentioned. You know where something is, and you go there and it's not what you thought or where it thought. And like the emotion that comes with that is huge.
Like rage. It's not even emotion. It's like full on rage.
We're taught that a disorganized room is a sign of a disorganized mind, and I don't think that's the case at all.
I don't think so.
Not when it's your disorganization. Like if it's someone else's, I might
my own chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. I might struggle in someone else's, but to be honest, I love organizing someone else's chaos.
Yes, I live for it. Work organization, sign me up.
And Ella is like forcing organization on me, which honest to goodness, I totally love and appreciate, and also feel incredibly overwhelmed and paralyzed at times by it.
Because it's emotional, right?
She can't wait. This Saturday, we're going to blow apart Hoarder's Paradise. She cannot wait to get her claws on that. And I am already like having anxiety attack, not even joking about anxiety attack. I'm like full on breathing.
Well, Carolyn and I had a discussion about this because she's totally like Ella. Like they are kind of the same freaking person. And
can we talk about how Ella's like, I wish I would have gotten to Carolyn before you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, continue.
She was too little. So too little, too late. Carolyn is like one of those people that grew up as an army brat. So they moved constantly. So her life she had to be able to pack her life into a box and be moving along in really short amounts of time. And I grew up the offspring of 2 hoarders. So, and I mean,
it's a real thing
in the most loving way. They're not really hoarders. They're collectors. They're collectors of things.
Okay, but
there's a whole other like generational trauma piece here.
Our granny was like a collector as well. I wouldn't say a hoarder, but it like
did she
a collector.
Should she collect my grandmother,
Fabric,
your grandma's
wool.
sister? She collected these marionette dolls that were terrifying.
That sounds terrifying. I'm gonna have nightmares.
And also elephants. I love the elephants.
I have one of her ducks, but one of the, like, she had a room that we didn't go into, kind of like my hoarder's room. That's why I'm like, oh, Granny. No, it was garbage bags full of, because she loved to crochet. So there were all sorts of fun colors and this sort of thing. Tyne?
I was going to actually bring out my blanket. It's in the dryer right now that she had made, which is funny. Oh. I didn't, though. I grabbed this frock from your mom instead. But I know, and this goes kind of back to the trauma piece. My mom's thing was shoes, because she was
my mom's thing was shoes too.
She always wanted to have nice shoes. Her thing was that she needed to buy nice shoes. I needed to have new shoes. There was no hand-me-down shoes. This was, a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Which kind of in me spurred a little bit of a fear of getting used shoes, which Carrie's mom has broken me of.
But because she has the same thing. Like, yes. That was one thing I may have worn all my cousins, who are boys mostly. I may have worn their hand-me-downs. Like, no wonder people thought I was a boy in my polo shirt and like cargo pants. But one thing we always had, no matter how poor we were, was shoes. Like my mom, because of the same thing. Your mom was the baby, and I'm sure she got all the hand-me-downs. My mom's feet were like a triple E width. So she had one pair of shoes because it was hard for them to afford or to find. Yeah. And so it created that, right?
Shoes,
well, and Deets, your mom loves shoes.
And food. Yeah.
Food.
As like a funny side note, a friend of mine from high school and I were at another person's house, and we were playing this game, and my friend and I knew each other quite well, and he knew my parents. And the question was, and this might be something that you might have to look up, Tyne, but do you know who Imelda Marcos is?
Yes, very well, because of my mother.
Because of the shoes, right? So anyway, the question, her name, it was like Trivial Pursuit, and it was like, who is the wife of so-and-so, da-da-da-da-da. And my friend said, your mother, only in Canada, was, and that's what he said to me. And I said, Imelda Marcos. and that was it. We got the question right. And the other people that were there were like, what just happened here, right? Like,
I love stuff
like that. If you didn't know my mom, you wouldn't understand it all. But it was like,
that was my mom's biggest quote. Always. She'd hand me a new pair and go, here you go, Imelda Marcos. I will wear the same pair. I've been wearing these flippin' Keens that Carrie gave me for like 10 years now. I don't care about that kind of stuff, but always, I never had to buy shoes because my mom would just like randomly hand me these pairs of shoes.
Well,
which I inherited a few of them actually from your mom.
Yes.
Do you kind of think it's sort of like feeding people? Like, it's like, if you can't, at a certain point, the satisfaction, there's just a satisfaction in feeding people. Do you know what I mean? That you don't get in just binge eating yourself. Like, there's just it feeding people. I think the same satisfaction goes for people that have something that they like to collect, if they can share it with others. Mm-hmm. Like shoes. So
shoes and food for sure.
Like, think about all of our mothers. Tyne, your mom, Deets, your mom. Like, the first two things, honest to goodness, I think of are shoes and food.
Yes.
Right? It's just...
Garfield is like dead weight. He's killing
and he totally looks like Garfield. He's really getting his COVID on.
He like just passes out. Oh, I'm sorry. He's not happy looking now, but
he gave you the finger.
No, he's sitting there with his ears back because he's not. He would sleep on my shoulder with his head on my shoulder for 2 hours straight if I let him.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that interruption as I knocked everything over. I think the floor is a little uneven here because I just keep sliding away. Need a stationary chair.
I would love for us to have one last story before we wrap this up.
Yes.
So let's recap our topics.
There's a lot of them.
Let's
go in reverse to the beginning.
This is a great little Waldorf trick that we use.
Oh.
This actually, sidebar real quick. If you're having a hard time falling asleep, a trick that is generally, I'm going to use general as a very generalized term here, regarded as a great trick before bed. And I could be misquoting here, but I believe Steiner himself made this up. Do your day in reverse. Literally minuscule details from like you getting into bed in reverse. You just got into bed. What'd you do beforehand? You brushed your teeth. What'd you do beforehand? What'd you do? And go through your entire day. Normally, by the time you hit the beginning of your day, you're done. Anyway,
I was ready to crawl into bed when you said, but you get into bed, and I was like, okay.
Good night.
Have you guys ever done this? Like, okay, I know I'm adding in, but have you ever pretended to be asleep and then take a selfie to see what you look like when you're sleeping?
Yes.
No.
Okay, 2 out of 3. That's not bad. I'll take it.
Sleepers though, and we'll take pictures of each other sleeping. We're like, oh, you're so cute.
Oh, that is really cute.
Or the cats, because half the time I have a cat on my head when I'm sleeping.
I just record Rick snoring so he knows what I have to put up with.
Speaking of
he has sleep apnea.
What's probably that?
I'm concerned Rick doesn't breathe at night.
He probably doesn't.
You can get a referral to do a sleep test.
We're gonna do that for sure.
You should. Okay. It was so easy for me to do. And I was gonna say probably the only reason that I've never done that is just it's a big ordeal for me to get into bed. And once my phone is plugged in, there's no like putting it back because I can't reach out when I'm like.
What do you need your phone for? I don't get it.
To take the selfie. How else would I take a selfie?
Trying to figure out.
Meanwhile, I've got my elephant rig on, as Carolyn calls it, for my sleep apnea thing across my nose and the hose, and I've probably got an animal on me already because there's like at least 3 in the bed already, and
at least.
Yeah, so it's like I can't pretend I'm asleep because I'm not asleep.
There's no pretending.
There's no pretending.
I don't do it when I'm in bed. I do it like on the couch or just kind of curious, or what I would look like when I'm dead. I don't know. It's just interesting. Stuff I find kind of fascinating. But anyway, okay, so let's recap from Steiner's way. Death sleeping photos to sleep apnea. I don't know. I'm already asleep.
Shoes. Imelda Marcos.
Hoarding / collecting. Because I don't think any of us want to admit that we have hoarding tendencies. / organizers in our life. Which I didn't mention Genevieve. She's really good at that too. She can come in and be like, okay, this is what you need to do. And I'm like, I've thought about this 500 times and you are right. Anyway, Ancient Aliens. We landed there for a really awesome long time. / Ancient Alien Mermaids. / real life UFO experience.
True. Yeah.
Probably my favorite.
We talked about Trashy TV. That's how we got there. Trashy TV.
Oh, you know what we should talk about? We should talk. I don't know if you want to share it. The murder in your old apartment, but I don't remember any details about it.
Something about someone being murdered on the stairwell.
Yeah. And the only reason we found out about it was because my friend from high school's dad was on he knew about it. No, it wasn't because he was a coroner. He was never a coroner. He worked for the fire department. He was on the jury for the trial.
Which is like so amazing, right? So
I don't even, I think of Portage and I don't think of murder trials, but maybe that's just.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should.
Okay, which also brings us to fake memories.
Yes.
Fake memories.
Didn't even stay there very long. We're going to have to come back to that.
We need to revisit that. I need to write this down. Hold on. Let's be adults about this. Because this is how our conversations happen.
Fake memories / we sniffed at the ancient aliens today, but another topic, not just because of the time of year though, would be paranormal visitations.
Yeah. Which we need
a guest speaker on that one.
Evan.
You've had a couple haunted houses. Well,
yes.
At least one.
Well, maybe even the one I'm in. Who knows?
Really?
Talk about
I've never had
at
an
your mom's
issue
house
there.
too.
Oh yeah, my mom's house too. Yeah, the last one I had was nice though. It wasn't bad.
Wait, your mom's current house? I thought they built that.
Yeah, but
the person
there's still visitors.
Helps people pass over.
Did we talk about pot sauce?
Not right now. We'll save pot sauce.
Okay. Oh, pot sauce.
Okay. Because no one's gonna want to watch / listen to this for more than 3 minutes.
We're out.
I want to say Siegfried and Roy, but that's only because when I was Googling about Mary Hart, that came up.
We could talk about celebrities of the past, perhaps. Not including Tom Jones, because he is still alive.
He's
still here.
He's not gone. He is still with us.
But we also, we could then talk about Michael Landon, which would feed my highway to heaven. So.
Quiet down up there.
We can't hear her.
Oh, I can hear. It's the spirits of the house walking around, pacing.
I haven't felt any spirits there. Come on.
No, me neither. This is a boring.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so what else? We talked about Mary Hart.
That's kind of where we started, with seizures from Mary Hart's voice. If there's something before that, I got nothing.
How does this thing work? Is this thing on? Is it recording?
I hope so. It says it is.
So why are we doing recording like Zoom and not our podcast?
I don't know.
Switch it up. Hello, welcome to our YouTube channel. We usually podcast.
Which really says a lot about, it just ties in this whole conversation. Because it's everything and nothing.
Everything and
nothing. Look at, there's the title. This is what we look like when we're podcasting, except not, because I'm usually in pajamas.
Yeah, I'm usually lying in my bed.
I am in pajamas. I just put a different shirt on.
If you guys are enjoying this and you'd like to see more potpourri YouTubing, do you want to give us a little outro? Anybody?
That was perfect.
This is the uncut version.
Please comment on other topics. Are you interested in the paranormal, the ancient aliens?
If we knew how to accept call-ins,
highway to heaven,
people could totally just join in. But we'd have to be we'd have to be live somehow, and I'm not.
Well, we just maybe have people in advance say, "I'm in." Or you do it on the lives. You can do it on live on Instagram, and then you just bring people in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you do? How do you do how we're doing right now on Instagram?
It just happens. You can invite people to your live.
Yeah.
Because maybe this is our wrap up. Begonia, you guys, she's amazing. Thank you to Karina for introducing her to me. And we went to her concert, and yeah, she's so amazing. So Casey is Karina's daughter. She's a real fun little crafter and artist, and drew a picture of begonia during the COVIDs and had Casey on her live on Instagram.
I don't know what begonia is.
This is your homework for all of you guys.
I'm going to be reading the episode resources later to catch up on what I'm missing.
I will be drafting that tonight before I forget about it.
Excellent. I'll give you the login for the YouTube.
Yeah, we would love to have people on. We would love to talk to you about anything, whether it be on video or podcast, or you leave us a message and we anonymously talk about it on one of these fantastic episodes that we're creating.
Yeah.
We also have a great little series called The Interviews that we'll be building as well. More to come. Speaking of things that could be coming up on the interviews at some point soon, eventually, Courtney and I would like to debrief about our weddings because she had hers. Congratulations to them. Yay, they are back. Kyle's in Canada and they are looking at heading out west. So that's very exciting for them. Would like to chat with Evan about our wedding. And we'd like to interview you, whoever you might be. Come on down.
I think your name is Carmen.
Oh, your name is
or Karina, or any of my
Karina.
friends. Yeah.
Andrea.
We need to have Andrea on to explain genealogy.
Would also love to have a set of cousins named Sarah and Annette on at some point to talk about beading and their experiences. Because they're cousins and we are hello cousin.
Right.
Makes sense.
Makes total sense.
Makes total sense. Yeah. All right.
I think I had a cousin son who wanted to come on as well. So
yes,
we'll get that rolling.
Rolling.
What's cousin son want to talk about?
I don't know. I think he's up for whatevs. He's a teen.
Talk.
He's a teen. I don't know. Teen things. He's a maker.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to I don't know. He's gonna be very popular. Just gonna say.
Yes. All right, cousins.
Like, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. We don't have an outro for this yet, so
enjoy.
No. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Your lives are forever changed.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Dun, dun, dun.